Ever heard of mind-bending mysteries from the past that vanished without a trace? From strange fire recipes to Archimedes' magical scrolls, these historical head-scratchers are the real-life X-Files of our yesteryears, leaving us to wonder, did they ever really exist? Or are they just figments of our curious imaginations? The Library of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria, back in the ancient heyday, was like the Google of antiquity, a massive knowledge hub, boasting scrolls and texts from across the known world. This wasn't your grandma's bookshelf. It reportedly housed hundreds of thousands of scrolls, containing the wisdom of the Greeks, Egyptians, Persians, and more. Imagine having all that info packed into one place. It was mind-blowing. Now the mystery starts with its demise. There isn't a one-size-fits-all theory on how this colossal library met its end, but a popular tale suggests it got the short end of the stick during one of those wild Ptolemaic power struggles in 48 BCE. Some folks believe Julius Caesar set the whole place ablaze during his visit to Alexandria. Legend has it that his troops were busy doing their thing, and the darn thing just went up in flames. Accidental BBQ, or so they say. Another yarn spins a tale of the library getting the boot during the reign of Theophilus, the big dog in the 4th century. Supposedly, his gang decided to bring the hammer down on pagan temples, and the library, being the brainy pagan that it was, got caught in the crossfire. They reckon the scrolls went up in smoke, the scholars did a facepalm, and that was the end of an era. The truth is, though, no one has a VIP pass to the time machine, so it's a game of historical, he said, she said. Some argue it was a slow burn, others claim it was a one-time fiery fiasco. Regardless, the Library of Alexandria went from the ultimate intellectual hotspot to a mythical lost treasure, leaving us to wonder just how many ancient memes and scrolls of wisdom went up in smoke that day. The Mayan codices. Back in the Mayan realm, they had a thing for putting pen to paper, or rather, carving hieroglyphics onto bark paper. These Mayan codices were like their version of cheat sheets, containing the lowdown on everything from astronomy to ceremonies. The Mayans were onto something big with their complex system of writing, creating a treasure trove of knowledge. Now, here's the kicker. Most of these codices have done a vanishing act. Only a handful survived the ages, and scholars are scratching their heads over the mystery of the disappearing manuscripts. It's like someone hit delete on the Mayan Dropbox, and we're left wondering what secrets got wiped out. One possibility is the Spanish conquistadors, those folks with a knack for crashing parties. When they rolled into town in the 16th century, they weren't exactly fans of the indigenous culture's written works. It's like the conquistadors had an aversion to ink and parchment. So these guys might have gone on a book-burning bonanza, erasing a good chunk of Mayan wisdom in the process. Another theory throws shade on the environment. The Mayans weren't scribbling with ballpoints. They used organic materials like bark paper. Over centuries, these materials tend to break down faster than a cookie in a rainstorm. The tropical climate did its thing, turning these hieroglyphic texts into ancient confetti. It's a real head-scratcher. These Mayan codices were the real deal, documenting a civilization's knowledge, and then poof, most of them are gone. Whether it was a fiery conquest or just the passage of time playing tricks, we may never know the full story behind the Mayan codices' great disappearing act. La Ciudad de Blanca. So, picture this mythical place deep in the Honduran jungle, La Ciudad Blanca, aka the White City. It's not your average Sunday picnic spot, it's steeped in legend and mystery. Locals have been spinning tales about this lost city for generations, describing it as a dazzling metropolis of white stone, filled with untold treasures. Think El Dorado, but with a cooler name. Over the years, these legends fueled expeditions and searches by treasure hunters, archaeologists, and Indiana Jones wannabes. They wanted to put La Ciudad Blanca on the map, quite literally. One of the earliest hunters, Theodore Maude, hit the scene in the 1930s, all hyped up about finding the city of legend. He never actually found it, but managed to stir the pot of curiosity, adding more spice to the tales of the White City. Fast forward to modern times, and satellite technology joined the quest. In 2012, a team used LiDAR, basically fancy laser beams from the sky, to scan the Honduran rainforest. Lo and behold, they discovered evidence of ancient settlements, structures, and terraced landscapes, signs that a thriving civilization might have once called the area home. The White City wasn't just a figment of imagination. There seemed to be something substantial under the thick jungle canopy. Now here's the twist. Not everyone's on board with the White City hype train. Some skeptics argue that the whole legend is nothing more than folklore. And those LiDAR findings, They could just be the remnants of a run-of-the-mill ancient civilization. It's like the debate over Bigfoot, but with ruins in the jungle. The controversy adds a layer of uncertainty to the whole White City narrative, leaving us with a tantalizing mix of myth, discovery, and a dash of skepticism about what might be lurking in the Honduran wilderness. Ancient Greek fire. Back in the day, the Greeks had a fiery little secret up their sleeves: ancient Greek fire. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill campfire. It was a weapon of mass burnination. Historical accounts from the Byzantine Empire describe its devastating use in naval warfare during the 7th century. Ships were rigged with this mystical concoction, and when it hit the scene, it was game over for the enemy. Imagine liquid flames shooting from nozzles, turning the sea into a fiery inferno. It was the ancient equivalent of naval flamethrowers, and it struck terror into the hearts of foes. Now, here's the kicker. The recipe for ancient Greek fire was one closely guarded secret. It wasn't jotted down in Grandma's old recipe book. In fact, the specifics are shrouded in mystery. The Byzantines were tight-lipped about the ingredients and the precise method of making this combustible cocktail. They guarded the recipe like Gollum and his precious ring, and anyone caught spilling the beans could kiss their life goodbye. The lack of detailed information about the composition of Greek fire has sparked centuries of speculation. Some theories suggest it contained quicklime, petroleum, and other secret source ingredients. The secrecy surrounding the formula added to its mystique, turning it into the boogeyman of medieval warfare. And just like that, Greek fire vanished from the historical stage. The exact reason for its disappearance remains a puzzle, whether it was lost to time, deliberate suppression of the recipe, or just a lack of interest in preserving ancient pyrotechnic secrets. The enigma of ancient Greek fire adds a fiery chapter to the history books, leaving us to wonder about the untold secrets of this incendiary innovation. Archimedes' treatise. Back in the golden age of ancient Greece, Archimedes was the rock star of mathematics and physics. This guy was the brainiac behind some mind-blowing contributions that still make nerds nod in appreciation today. From calculating the volume of irregular shapes to figuring out the principles of buoyancy in his famous Eureka bathtub moment, Archimedes laid the groundwork for a ton of scientific and mathematical principles. Now here's the plot twist. Not all of Archimedes' genius survived the sands of time. Some of his treatises, the written gold mines of his mathematical and scientific revelations, pulled a disappearing act. While we do have some of his works, like On the Sphere and Cylinder and On Floating Bodies, there are references to lost treatises that could have been the scholarly jackpot. Imagine having the key to the mind of one of history's greatest thinkers, and then realizing that key is missing a few notches. The disappearance of Archimedes' works is a real head-scratcher. One popular theory points fingers at the Library of Alexandria's fiery end, suggesting that some of his treatises went up in smoke with that legendary blaze. Others think that copyists and scribes simply dropped the ball over the centuries, failing to reproduce and preserve all of Archimedes' intellectual gems. But don't lose hope just yet. Scholars and history buffs haven't thrown in the towel on recovering Archimedes' lost writings. The tale takes a turn in the 20th century when a scholarly superhero named Johann Ludwig Heiberg stepped up to the plate. In 1906, he discovered a palimpsest, a manuscript with text written over an erased older text in a Constantinople library. Lo and behold, this palimpsest contained previously unknown works by Archimedes. The plot thickens, though. The recovered texts were incomplete and damaged, like a missing puzzle piece that had been stepped on a few times. It took decades of meticulous work by scholars, using cutting-edge imaging technology like multispectral imaging, to decipher and reconstruct the hidden writings. The result? The Archimedes palimpsest, a modern marvel that brought back lost theorems and calculations from the ancient mastermind himself. So, while some of Archimedes' treatises might have slipped through the cracks of history, the tireless efforts of researchers have managed to piece together parts of the puzzle. The recovery of the Archimedes palimpsest stands as a testament to the perseverance of those determined to unveil the secrets of one of antiquity's greatest minds. The Roanoke Colony. Back in the late 16th century, the Roanoke colony was shaping up to be the poster child for mystery in the New World. Established by Sir Walter Raleigh in 1585 on Roanoke Island, North Carolina, the settlement was meant to be England's foothold in the Americas. However, it quickly gained fame for the baffling vanishing act pulled off by its inhabitants. The disappearance of the Roanoke settlers is one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries. In 1590, when John White, the colony's governor, returned from a supply trip to England, he found the colony deserted. The settlers, including his own granddaughter Virginia Dare, were gone without a trace. The only clues left behind were the words Croatoan carved on a post and CRO on a tree. The lack of conclusive evidence turned this historical episode into a real head-scratcher. Various theories have been tossed around regarding the fate of the Roanoke colony, but none have provided a definitive answer. One theory suggests that the settlers, desperate for supplies, integrated with nearby Native American tribes, particularly the Croatoan people. The carved word Croatoan seemed to hint at this possibility. Some subsequent expeditions reported encounters with people who claimed to have European ancestry, adding fuel to this theory. Another idea is that the settlers fell victim to disease, conflict with indigenous people, or starvation. The harsh conditions of the new land and the lack of adequate resources might have overwhelmed the colony, leading to its demise. However, the absence of conclusive archaeological evidence has kept this theory in the realm of speculation. A more dramatic possibility is that the Roanoke settlers were absorbed by other European powers or kidnapped by pirates. The geopolitical tensions of the time, with England and Spain competing for dominance, could have played a role in the colony's fate. However, historical records from the period don't provide concrete evidence to support this theory. The Roanoke colony's enigmatic disappearance has sparked countless debates and investigations. Archaeologists and historians have scoured the Roanoke Island for clues, hoping to unearth evidence that could solve the centuries-old mystery. Despite the efforts, the fate of the Roanoke settlers remains an open-ended question, leaving us with an enduring historical puzzle that continues to captivate the imagination and fuel speculation about the early days of European colonization in the Americas. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, has long been shrouded in mystery and fascination. According to ancient sources, notably the Greek historian Herodotus and later accounts by Strabo, the gardens were a marvel of engineering and horticulture. These lush terraced gardens were said to be built by King Nebuchadnezzar II in the 6th century BCE for his wife Ametis of Media, who missed the green hills and valleys of her homeland. Descriptions painted a picture of an architectural masterpiece with cascading greenery, exotic plants, and elaborate irrigation systems, creating a verdant oasis in the heart of Babylon. However, the Hanging Gardens' existence is a matter of historical debate due to the glaring lack of archaeological evidence. Surprisingly, there is no definitive mention of the gardens in Babylonian cuneiform inscriptions or other contemporary records. Despite Babylon being an archaeological treasure trove, no physical remnants or inscriptions directly linked to the legendary gardens have been discovered. This has fueled skepticism among historians and archaeologists, challenging the traditional narrative of the gardens as a tangible wonder of the ancient world. Several theories have emerged to explain the absence of archaeological evidence and to reconcile the conflicting accounts. One hypothesis suggests that the gardens were not actually in Babylon, but in Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrian king Sennacherib is documented to have constructed impressive gardens, leading some to believe that the attribution to Babylon was a historical mix-up. Another theory proposes that the gardens were destroyed by earthquakes, erasing any traces of their existence. The lack of primary sources from Babylonian records adds a layer of uncertainty, making it challenging to separate fact from fiction. Some scholars even question whether the Hanging Gardens were a real architectural feat or merely a product of ancient imagination and storytelling. Theories proposing that the gardens were a symbolic or poetic creation rather than a physical structure gained traction, suggesting that the idea of the Hanging Gardens might have been an embellishment or misunderstanding passed down through generations. Ether. In the realm of ancient science and philosophy, the concept of ether held a prominent place as a mysterious and fundamental element. Ether, sometimes spelled ether, was thought to be a quintessential substance that filled the celestial spaces and comprised the heavenly bodies. Unlike tangible matter, ether was considered a subtle and imperishable medium that permeated the cosmos. This concept dates back to ancient Greek philosophy, with prominent thinkers like Aristotle proposing the existence of ether as the fifth element, in addition to earth, water, air, and fire. Aristotle envisioned ether as the substance that made up the heavens, where celestial bodies moved in perfect circular motion. Later, during the Hellenistic period, the idea of ether evolved further with thinkers like Claudius Ptolemy, who integrated it into his geocentric model of the universe. Ptolemy believed that ether was the substance that transmitted the motion of celestial spheres and enabled the planets and stars to move in their orbits. While ether played a crucial role in ancient cosmology, the concept faced challenges as scientific understanding progressed. The advent of heliocentrism and the Copernican revolution introduced new models of the cosmos that questioned the need for ether. Scientists like Johannes Kepler and Galileo Galilei contributed to the shift away from the Aristotelian worldview, emphasizing empirical observation over theoretical constructs. The downfall of the ether concept reached its zenith with the advent of Isaac Newton's laws of motion and universal gravitation. Newton's laws provided a comprehensive and mathematically robust explanation for celestial motion without the need for ether. Ether, once a fundamental element, gradually faded from the forefront of scientific discourse as the scientific method and empirical evidence gained prominence. However, the story of ether didn't end there. In the 19th century, with the rise of electromagnetic theory, physicists revisited the concept in a different light. James Clerk Maxwell's equations, describing the behavior of electric and magnetic fields, led to the proposal that these fields required a medium to propagate through, an ether of sorts. This luminiferous ether was envisioned as a medium that transmitted electromagnetic waves, including light. Yet the demise of the ether concept came with Albert Einstein's theory of relativity in the early 20th century. Einstein's revolutionary ideas about space and time rendered the need for ether obsolete. The scientific community embraced Einstein's theories, relegating the once central concept of ether to the annals of scientific history. While it played a crucial role in historical models of the universe, the concept gradually faded away in the face of empirical evidence and groundbreaking scientific theories. The story of ether serves as a testament to the dynamic nature of scientific inquiry and the continuous refinement of our understanding of the cosmos. Zerzura. Zerzura, a legendary oasis nestled in the vast expanse of the Sahara Desert, has captured the imaginations of explorers and storytellers for centuries. The myths surrounding Zerzura blend seamlessly with the reality of the unforgiving desert landscape, creating a tale that blurs the lines between fact and fiction. According to the legends, Zerzura was no ordinary oasis. It was said to be a paradise hidden amidst the arid sands, featuring lush greenery, crystal-clear lakes, and abundant wildlife. The oasis was rumored to be home to a tribe of fair-skinned, blue-eyed people living in harmony with nature. The tales of Zerzura often spoke of fabulous wealth, with the oasis housing treasures beyond imagination. Historically, the allure of Zerzura played a significant role in the expeditions of European explorers during the 19th and early 20th centuries. As the Sahara beckoned adventurers and archaeologists, the search for Zerzura became a tantalizing quest. These explorers were drawn by the prospect of discovering a hidden oasis with untold riches and the mystery of a lost civilization. One notable expedition in the early 20th century was led by Hungarian explorer Laszlo Almasi. Almasi, along with German ethnographer Leo Frobenius, set out to find Zerzura based on the accounts of Bedouin tribes. The expedition, however, did not yield the discovery of the mythical oasis. The elusive nature of Zerzura persisted, contributing to its enigmatic reputation. The reality of Zerzura remains elusive due to the vast and challenging terrain of the Sahara. While the desert is home to various oases, the specific location of the mythical Zerzura has never been definitively identified. The scarcity of water sources in the Sahara adds to the difficulty of verifying the existence of a hidden paradise. The legend of Zerzura, however, is not confined to Western explorers. It is deeply embedded in the oral traditions of the Tuareg and other desert-dwelling tribes. These communities have their own variations of the Zerzura myth, adding layers of cultural significance to the elusive oasis. Animal magnetism. Animal magnetism, a term coined by the German physician Franz Mesmer in the 18th century, marked the beginning of a controversial chapter in the history of medicine. Mesmer proposed the existence of a vital force or energy that could be harnessed to bring about therapeutic effects. He believed that this force flowed through living organisms and could be manipulated to restore health. Mesmer's theories laid the foundation for what later became known as mesmerism, a precursor to modern hypnosis. Mesmer's techniques involved the use of passes, gestures, and magnetic objects to purportedly channel the animal magnetism and induce a trance-like state in patients. He claimed success in treating various ailments, and his methods gained popularity across Europe. However, the medical establishment of the time was skeptical, leading to controversy and debates surrounding the legitimacy of animal magnetism. Fact and myth became intertwined as animal magnetism evolved. Mesmer's ideas faced scrutiny and were eventually discredited by the medical community. However, the notion of mesmerism persisted in various forms. One of Mesmer's followers, Armand-Marie Jacques de Chastenay, Marquis of Puységur, adapted and refined the techniques, leading to the development of magnetic sleep or artificial somnambulism. Despite the controversies, the practice continued to attract attention. In the 19th century, a Scottish surgeon named James Braid shifted the narrative by introducing the term hypnosis to describe the phenomenon previously associated with animal magnetism. Braid emphasized the psychological aspects of the process, steering away from Mesmer's metaphysical notions. This shift laid the groundwork for the scientific exploration of hypnosis as a psychological state rather than a mysterious force. While animal magnetism, as envisioned by Mesmer, is not recognized in contemporary scientific discourse, the legacy of his ideas persists. Hypnosis, derived from the evolution of animal magnetism, has found applications in psychology and medicine, particularly in pain management and behavioral therapy. The historical journey from Mesmer's animal magnetism to the scientific exploration of hypnosis highlights the complex interplay between fact and myth in the development of medical concepts and practices. This ends today's video. If you learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more discoveries in time.